Welcome back, gamers, to another fluffy video. Just a short one today. Not gonna be over the top with the memes or naked anime waifus. Feel free to subscribe though, cause the next vid's gonna be crazy. Just a heads up. We're gonna be talking about one particularly annoying Deimos enemy, the Jugulus, or Juguli when they spawn in trios, which is what these goddamn infested PPs do all the time during higher level bounties. We're gonna cover the maths first, then the weapons that'll help you shear this thing clean off of the surface of Deimos, as well as some warframe abilities to help shut this abomination down. Timestamps are in the video description as always. Let's go. Most of you guys watching this video would have already met this boy out in the drift. Did you just assume his gender? Well, what did you want me to say? It looks like a massive infested aubergine anyway. At lower levels, I'm sure he's not much of an issue. You could destroy a level 41 with a Mark 1 Bratton within a reasonable amount of time. The issue is the amount of damage this thing inflicts, being able to one-shot our asses at high level especially. Isn't it great how gas procs from even our Orokin crafted weaponry does piss poor damage compared to just a booger shot from one of these things? I guess DE just made it so that some are better at using gas than others. Okay, so you quickly realize that a Mark 1 Bratton is not gonna cut it at higher tier bounties. You switch to something like a Typedo Prime or even a Redeemer, and while the Deimos Jugulus doesn't become unkillable at high levels by any means, something feels off, almost as if you forgot to equip a mod or two. I mean, even at level 100, the Deimos Jugulus has an EHP of about 2.5 million, which is nothing crazy. I mean, aren't we all used to dealing with pre-nerf corrupted heavy gunners that can hit values of well over 10 million? So why is it then that these things aren't as easy to kill as they may seem? Well, allow me to introduce to you DE's new favorite method of fighting against us Tenno. DPS-based damage reduction. They're using the power of math against us, Jim! And this isn't the first time they did it. I think Demolisher Thrashers employ a similar algorithm, which is why they feel impossible to kill on Steel Path to all but the most experienced of players. You don't believe me? I urge you to go do a round of disruption on Uranus. I'm never gonna make an anal joke ever again. They stink. This is the exact formula applied, which you can find on the Warframe wiki page. If you don't feel like doing calculations, then all you gotta know is that to double your effective DPS, you have to quintuple your damage output before damage reduction. Critical hits excluded, of course. Basically, if you wanted the Deimos Jugulus to feel twice the pain, you have to up your DPS by a multiple of 5. So if you're doing 20k damage before, you need to 5x that to 100k. That's some flat ass scaling there, bruv. Here's a graph as well to put it into visual perspective, but like I said before, critical hits are not taken into account, which would make you think that going for fast and hard hitting weapons with super high crit multipliers would be the way to go. Maybe. Really depends on the weapon obviously, but I prefer to go with massive slash proc damage, which has its own algorithm that actually takes critical hits into account. At this point, it's getting so complicated that the DPS graph might as well be this, because critical hits by nature, in Warframe at least, are inconsistent. 0% crit weapon gang, I'm not looking at you. Okay, Marshmallow, I really don't care for these mumbo-jumbo pseudo-magic maths. Just tell me what I gotta shoot with to exterminate those Deimos Juguli. Well, of course, I got a few suggestions, some of them more suited for players who prefer gunplay and don't want to mess with their Warframe builds too much. And then there are Warframe suggestions as well. First off is a combination of Banshee plus Sonic Fracture and a Kuva Kohm. Now, the Kuva Kohm isn't exactly the best weapon against the Jugulus. It's okay with the Banshee's armor strip and augment, but you're probably gonna have to get close to user 1, then you might as well switch to melee. But for elimination at range, the Kuva Kohm is probably better than most primaries. There are plenty of Kuva Kohm build videos out there. I've never made one. Just make sure to mod for corrosive and you'll be good. The Redeemer Prime is an excellent choice because it's both a melee and a gun. Well, it's a gun with a melee range, but yeah, a standard corrosive build on this thing will deal enough raw damage to uproot those frickers out into space. Even at a distance of about 20 meters, it only takes about 4 or 5 shots, so I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the favorite for most of you. Now, if you're like me and prefer to go the slash proc route, Pennant is an amazing choice, especially with the Maligna skin. Turns it into an infested weapon, which is kinda weird. I use the infested to kill the infested sort of a thing. Yeah, I know, dead mean. Kinda like this channel. We all know what sort of damage this boy can deal in terms of heavy attacks. Just a couple of swings is enough to destroy even a level 100 Jugulus, which is pretty neat. And speaking of heavy attacks, my absolute favorite is of course the Glitch Zaw. If you want to know more about this Zaw setup, I did make a video on it several months ago, links in the description. I do have a ribbon on this, so it's not really a fair suggestion. The Pennant is probably the way to go for most of you boys and girls. Moving on to more warframe based Jugulus extermination methods, my favorite will be Gaussette. Now, you can't really kill a level 100 Jugulus with Thermal Sunder, but the ability to freeze him solid with 2 quick taps means you could prevent the deadly booger attack and have ample time to go in for a heavy attack or two. This is the build that I'm currently running, a slightly modified Gaussette build. Steel Path tier bounties will be doable, but you really gotta keep focused. It's still sort of a prototype build at the moment, and I probably won't make a separate video on the finalized version. Maybe I might share it in some future video, but you could just, you know, join my Discord, where I'm active almost 24/7 every fucking day. Just slide into my DMs and send some friend requests, and I'll be happy to help. Another frame that excels in Deimos bounties is Mesa. If you just want a simple, no frills, press 4 to win sort of an approach, Mesa with a Peacemaker build is the way to go. Also, Protea with her Blaze Artillery, I read somewhere is good. I tested it myself and found it to be meh. It's okay if you were to combo her guns with a gun of your own, a corrosive build Kuva Kohm for example, but IMO, all of these pale in comparison to a Redeemer or the single mighty swipe of something like a Pennant or the Glitch Zaw. There are probably some other methods and setups out there utilizing the helmet system. I personally haven't tested anything of that sort, haven't even cared to feed my helmet since I got him 2 days ago. Just can't bring myself to care at the moment. If you do have ideas or suggestions for taking down the Deimos Jugulus and other infested abominations that roam the camp beyond Drift, please feel free to share and interact with each other down in the comments below. I'm just gonna go work on that shitpost, cause that's what I have a Patreon for. Just kidding. Catch you guys real soon in the next video.